Hello there, friends. It's Jimmie Maverick, and welcome. It is August 6th, and we are going to do a mock draft tonight in Yahoo. We're going to do a standard points draft. Now, I know Yahoo, typically this is default set to half-point PPR league, but we are going to draft as if we are in a standard points league. And we're going to use my app, My Perfect Fantasy Draft, to help us pick players today. And I invite you to go to my website, fantasyfootballmaverick.com. You can check the app out there, find out how it works. Sign up if you like it. You can subscribe to it. It's very reasonable. It's only $9.95 for a year. You can use this on as many fantasy drafts as you are in this season. And I think you're going to find it's going to be a very useful tool. Now, one of the things I want to say, I'm sorry, I don't know if I mentioned that we're in a 12-team league. I'm picking 8th. So the draft is going to start in a minute and a half here. And one thing I want to just stress to everybody, and it always gets underestimated, the impact of small changes in the league point schedule can have an enormous impact on the players, what players are good, what players are bad. It is astounding. And so, I've done a lot of drafts recently in half-point PPR and full-point PPR. Again, we're going to a standard non-PPR mock right now. And when you log into the app, it's going to ask you 3 questions. Okay, so the first thing is, how is your league score points? We're going to choose standard points. Question 2, do you want to engage Jimmie's recommended player filters? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say no because I want to show you all the players in play. And then question 3, do you want to enter draft mode? We definitely do. So you select the size of your league. This is a 12-team league, but you can see you can do 8-team up to 16-team leagues in this system. And what is your draft position? Draft position is going to be 8. So let's go ahead and enter draft mode and see what happens here. Now the draft has started. And what you see here is you got the player list down here. You got some recommendations that I make. We're going to minimize that just so you can see the names. And then up here you see all these tabs that just popped in. This is each round of your draft. So we're just going to click on the first round, and you can see that it is recommending with our first round pick Davante Adams, James Conner, and Joe Mixon. Now, I always like to go with a running back in the first round. So James Conner is a great choice. I'm very confident that he is going to be a very effective RB1 this year on a good offense. Okay, don't think that just because Antonio Brown is gone, this team's going to fall apart. They're not. This is a high-quality offense. They're going to do very well this year. And James Conner has already shown you what he can do. He's going to do it again. So I think that should be our target. So let's go ahead and we're going to queue up Conner. We'll queue up Mixon. I'm also going to just queue up Davante Adams. Excuse me. Look at that. There's James Conner. There's Joe Mixon. So I got all 3 of them, all 3 recommended players queued up. And I like to use the queue as we're going through here because what happens is when we get into the middle of the draft, I want to see if players have fallen. And that always happens in every draft. So, by keeping them on your queue, you'll be able to see very easily because they'll be marked and like, oh, so-and-so is still on the board. Well, we're definitely going to take him then, right? It's so you don't miss any players. And that's going to just improve the effectiveness of the app and improve the effectiveness of your draft. So it is almost our turn, and you can see that, Davante Adams just got picked, but James Conner was our first pick anyway. So let's go ahead and we'll take Conner with our first pick. I think that's a fine way to start the draft. And we'll go to the second round here. It's going to be a quick turnaround. But you can see that it's recommending in the second round Tyreek Hill, Todd Gurley, and Juju Smith-Schuster. Now, I always like to balance my teams out and do a running back in the first pick and an elite wide receiver in the second pick, and then we're going to go back and do some more running backs. So I love the idea of going with Hill or Juju. I think they're both great. But, Todd Gurley is also a great deal at this point in the draft. He's a good choice. We could definitely go running back. But for my particular strategy, what I want to do, 4 of my first 5 picks are going to be running backs. So I'm going to anchor this team with an elite wide receiver. So I don't feel so bad about all the wide receivers that are going to get picked between now and pick 6. So let's go ahead. We'll queue them up. There's Juju. There's Tyreek. As far as who's better, well, the way my app works is it ranks all the players on a VORC score: value, outlook, reliability, and consistency. It's these 4 columns over here. They get points based on how they score on each of these things, and then those points are added up, and you can see that Tyreek Hill scores 57 points, VORC points. Juju Smith-Schuster scores 50. They're both very good. Tyreek definitely, though, offers much better value. The value rank is 10th. versus 17th for Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju does have a better outlook than Tyreek, but come on, Tyreek is on an elite offense. He is going to be very effective. You can see that, look, Joe Mixon is still on the board as well. He made it back to this pick. So that's one of the reasons why I like to use the Q. I'm not interested in taking Mixon at this point. We're going to get ourselves our elite wide receiver. So Tyreek is the pick here. I'm very happy to have him on the team. And let's jump to the third round. So the third round, what is it recommending? Patrick Mahomes. Okay, so if you wanted to take Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, this is where you need to take him if you're picking 8th in a 12-team league, okay? It's going to give you an idea as to when you need to target that player. I do not want to take an elite quarterback. We're going to stick with the running back strategy. So look at who's next up, Kerryon Johnson, a running back who I very much like. His stock with me went way up when they cut, why am I drawing a blank on his name? When they got the other running back, whose name I can't think of right now. But he is in a great situation to generate some serious yardage. Other running backs, you can see Derrick Henry actually rates better than Kerryon Johnson. He's currently injured right now, and I don't recommend injured players. So I'm staying away from him, although they're saying he's going to be fine by the start of the season. But again, we're drafting at this point in the draft, so I'm going with what's available and what's known at this point in the draft. He is not healthy. But Kerryon Johnson is great. Josh Jacobs, another player who I very much like. Players that I don't like, Devonta Freeman and Aaron Jones, they don't rank very well at all on the VORC score. They got some issues. Aaron Jones has an injury issue. Devonta Freeman, they're both low reliability players. They don't score good on the outlook. So when you're looking at these lists of players, when you're looking at the list, just focus on the top half of the list. Don't worry about the players in the bottom half because they're not going to do you real good. So let's just jump back here. I'm going to queue these players up. I'll come back when we're within 3 picks, and we'll make our selection at that. Almost back. You can see our 3 guys queued up here. Definitely I'm going to take Kerryon Johnson. But again, if Derrick Henry was healthy, full participant in practices, I would be taking him at this point. But like I say, Kerryon Johnson's just in a great situation. And so let's go ahead and we will take him. And now let's jump to the 4th round. And you can see here it's recommending Brandon Cooks, Phillip Lindsay, Tyler Boyd. Let's filter for just running backs. So Phillip Lindsay offers some pretty nice value. Actually, I'd say he's fair value at this point. You can also see there's Chris Carson, David Montgomery. There's really good choices here. Certainly, Chris Carson and David Montgomery offer much better value, and I think we definitely want to do the value play here. Chris Carson, I like what's going on in Seattle, and yes, he is going to be sharing time with Rashad Penny, but, David Montgomery is going to be sharing time with Tariq Cohen. But this team is going to run the ball so much, it's not going to freaking matter, right? He's still going to get 15 to 20 touches a game. That's what you want. So let's target Carson, Montgomery, and Lindsay in that order for this round. This is going to be our 4th running back, by the way. So we're in great shape. So let's see here. Oh, I'm sorry. No, this is going to be our 3rd running back. So Carson. All right, there he is. And Montgomery, there he is. No, not Ty Montgomery. Oh, did the other Montgomery get taken? Yes, he sure did. Montgomery and Lindsay. All right, so we'll queue up Lindsay too. All right, so, again, it always happens in drafts where some guys get taken super early. And then on the flip side, there's long shots available that are available much later than you think they would be. If we filter just for running backs right now, you can see, you got Mark Ingram, Sony Michel, Tevin Coleman. These guys, not super interested in them for one reason or another. I think Mark Ingram's going to be in a real big timeshare this year. He's got Gus Edwards and also Justice Hill, who's actually a guy that I do like and I target late in most of my drafts. But Chris Carson, let's go with that. Chris Carson is our flex. I think that's a great option. And that certainly was our first choice. So let's jump to the 5th round now. And so now you can see we've got Robby Anderson and Alshon Jeffrey. Tevin Coleman is the running back being recommended. Phillip Lindsay is a long shot to be available at this point. And if he is still available, he would be a great choice. You can also see there's Tevin Coleman and James White. James White is a guy who usually values pretty well, but his value is hindered because we are in a standard points league. So he doesn't rate nearly as high as he would in like a half-point PPR league. Now, Tevin Coleman, again, he actually is not a bad choice here. All these guys are pretty good. But really, if Lindsey isn't available, I think we should maybe go wide receiver. And the wide receivers, Robby Anderson, Alshon Jeffrey, both those guys offer good value at this point in the draft. So why don't we do that? We'll do Lindsey first, Anderson, and then Alshon for our list. And I'll get them queued up, and we'll come back when we're within 3. Back, and Philip Lindsay did get taken. He was a long shot to make it to this pick anyway. A long shot just means less than a 50-50 chance of making it. But that's all right because we got Robby Anderson, we got Alshon Jeffrey. As far as a comparison between those two guys, Robby certainly has a little bit of a better outlook, better reliability, about the same consistency. So, he scores much better on the VORC score than Alshon does. So we're definitely going to take Robby with our next pick. And he's a very fine wide receiver, too. I'm very big on Robby this year. I think he's going to be great. So let's take him. Now let's go to the 6th round. Let's go to the 6th round. And you can see who's it recommending. Kenyon Drake, Jordan Howard, Jarvis Landry. So, and you can actually see Lamar Miller is the highest VORC score player. And I got to say, I'm not recommending Lamar Miller right now. But the fact that they cut down to Foreman, he's like literally the only guy. He's the only guy in that backfield. He's going to get the volume. He's not a great player. He doesn't score a lot of touchdowns, but as a volume play, he's valuable. Look, his value's in the top 50, and we're at pick number 65. So we're getting like a whole round of value by taking him at this point. Kenyon Drake offers about the same value, a little bit worse, but his outlook is a bit better. He catches a lot of passes, and that's not as important in standard leagues, but he is going to get, volume work. You can see Alshon Jeffrey as the long shot there. Jordan Howard, I think, is going to be the main running back in that backfield. He's the only one who knows how to block. So I think he's going to be on the field most of the time. Miles Sanders, I am not big on at all right now. So all 3 of those guys are good choices. Let's go ahead and get them queued up, and we'll take one of them as our 4th. So Miller, Drake, and Howard. It's almost back to our picks. So let's go Miller, Drake. Was Kenyon Drake already taken? He sure was. And then who was the 3rd guy? It was Jordan Howard, right? Jordan. Right. I can't believe I actually have Lamar Miller queued up. But again, he is our 4th running back. So it's okay if he's not like a super dynamo. This is a depth play. He's going to sit on our bench. And, should anything happen to one of the top 3 running backs that we have, he can come in, he can be a suitable flex play at a minimum. And he, probably has running back 2 upside if things go right for this team this season. So 2 picks till our turn. And if we just review our team right now, so we got Tyreek Hill and Robby Anderson as our wide receivers, James Conner, Kerryon Johnson, and Chris Carson as our running back. So that's a pretty nice core so far. I'm very happy with how this is going. So let's go ahead and hopefully Patrick will make his decision real quick, and we will be able to take Lamar Miller. Like I said, I just can't believe we just took him. But let's go to the 7th round. Let's see what's going on. So 7th round. Who's it recommending? Darrell Henderson, the backup to Todd Gurley, who actually has some decent standalone value. Royce Freeman, Vance McDonald. Now, we definitely want to get ourselves a tight end. I think maybe the 7th round is going to be our best bet to take one. I do like Vance McDonald the most because he offers decent value. You've also got David Njoku and Eric Ebron, but they don't offer good value. And, especially in standard point leagues, man, most of the tight ends are going to be very limited in value. So Vance is kind of like our last best chance to get a decent tight end that can perform. So let's go ahead and get Vance queued up. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pause till we're within 3, and we'll see where we're at, and we'll make our pick. So it's almost back to us, and you can see that Jordan Howard's still on the board, but I got Vance McDonald queued up, and then David Njoku as a backup. Royce Freeman and Darrell Henderson are also still on the board here. So let's go ahead, and we definitely want to take Vance now, because if we wait, his chances of getting picked before our next pick are pretty high. So we will go ahead and take him with our 7th pick. Anytime now, Cody. Come on, you can do it. Make your selection. I hate when they take the full 30 seconds. And it just auto picks. Okay, Vance McDonald, and now let's jump to the 8th round here, and it is recommending Sammy Watkins, Derrius Guice, and Rashad Penny. So you can see that just because it is set up as a standard points league, the recommendations are very much crowded with running backs, and you don't see that as much if you're in a half-point PPR if you look at my recommendations on that. So that's one of the flexibilities of my app, is that it adjusts the recommendations based on who's the best kind of players to get for that particular league, for how your league scores points. So let's go ahead and we'll get these guys queued up, Watkins, Guice, and Penny, and then we'll make our decision. So Watkins, Guice, and Penny. And if we look, and you can, so if we go and look at relative value, look at the value for Derrius Guice, 33. All right, that is amazing. He is being unbelievably discounted right now. Nobody has any faith in this guy that he's going to be able to play this season, but he is healthy. He is a full participant in practice. I got to take this value. We're at pick 89, and we can get a guy with top 30, 35 value at this point in the draft. This is how you win fantasy football, okay, is you take the value whenever you can get it. So I think Guice should absolutely be our top pick. And look, you can see here, like, Royce Freeman is 87th. Rashad Penny is 77th, man. None of them are even close. Guice is the guy you want to have. So it is almost back to our turn. Let's get Guice lined up here. And look, a lot of guys are getting carried forward here. That's pretty good. Howard, Freeman, Henderson are still on the board from the last round. So that's actually very nice to see. But even guys like Freeman and Henderson, they don't offer that kind of value. Henderson value 61, Freeman value 87. So definitely Guice is the guy to take here, and as long as he stays suppressed on the draft list, man, I'm probably going to take him in every draft, because to get that kind of value this late is amazing. And I know it's a crowded backfield, but if Guice is healthy, he's the best option back there, and he's the most versatile because he catches passes. So let's go to the 9th round. Let's see what's going on in the 9th round. So 9th round, we've got Larry Fitzgerald. We got another quarterback, Jared Goff, who is actually one of my favorite late round quarterbacks. I have him ranked as a top 6 quarterback this year for value. Obviously plays on an elite offense. You want to get a part of that, man. And I think he's a great choice in the 9th round. You also got Curtis Samuel. So these are all really good choices. Let's get all 3 of them queued up. And what I'll do is I'm going to pause the video, and we'll come back when we're within 3. Okay, and it is almost back to us again. Royce Freeman's still on the board. Sammy Watkins, there's Jared Goff. So I think this is definitely the round to take our quarterback. We'll take him as our 9th round pick. And I always like to wait as long as possible to take my quarterback. But this is a great place to get him. And now we're going to jump to the 10th round. And the 10th round is recommending, well, there's another great quarterback, Philip Rivers, Lamar Jackson, another great quarterback, and then Mark Andrews, the tight end. Now, we already have a tight end. So we don't really need a second one, although he is a great choice as a second tight end if that's the kind of strategy that you do. Let's look at the running backs this round. Who do we got? LaShawn McCoy. Oh, Jaylen Samuels. You know, he is a great person to get because we took Connor. And I think Jaylen Samuels is going to have some good standalone value this year as well, because I think they're both going to be on the field at the same time. You also got Ronald Jones if you totally want to gamble on him, which I do not, but Jaylen's a great choice. Let's look at the wide receivers. You got Fitzgerald as a long shot. So Fitzgerald would be a great pick at this point if he makes it back to us. And Marquez Valdes-Scantling, I like him as well. So let's get MVS and Jaylen queued up, and we'll pick one of them, and we'll see what's happening. So Jaylen Samuels and Marquez Valdes-Scantling, there he is. Those are all both great choices. And so far, we have taken, wow, we got 5 running backs, but only 2 wide receivers. So we definitely need to improve our wide receiver depth. And so I think, well, we got Watkins and Samuel, 2 holdovers from the last round. They're still on the board. You can see them. They're all right here. So we have a very good chance to get them. Shoot, Dede Westbrook's still on the board. I like him too. Christian Kirk, I like him too. There's some good choices here. Will Fuller, I don't really like because of the injury risk with him, but all the rest of these guys are great. I think I would probably go for the one that's going to get you the most points. Watkins, again, you can't go wrong with the Kansas City offense, man. He does have injury issues, but when he's healthy, he's going to be playing on an elite offense. He's going to be a great player. So I think that's a good choice for our third wide receiver. And hopefully Patrick does not take his full 30 seconds again, although it looks like he's going to. And Dede Westbrook is another one who I like. Actually, you know what? I trust Dede Westbrook a little bit more than I trust Sammy Watkins, and they're both similar value. They're both, oh, well, look at that. Someone took Sammy Watkins right before our pick. Well, there you go. So let's take Dede as our third, and let's jump to the 11th round. Who's it recommending? Deshaun Hamilton and Jaylen Samuels. So Jaylen Samuels is someone who, where is his draft position? Let's look. 129, and we're at pick 128. Okay, so he was a long shot in the last round, but he's actually one above our pick, so his odds of actually being available are about 2 out of 3. So he doesn't qualify as a long shot, even though he kind of is, because you can't really count on him being available. I'd love to take Jaylen Samuels as our 6th running back. I think that's a really solid core of running backs that we would have then, and then we can just focus on some nice high upside wide receivers to close out this draft. So Jaylen is still on the board. I'm just going to pause so we're within 3 of our next pick, and we'll see where we're at. We're back, and you can see that all these guys are still on the board. Now, Marquez, Valdes-Scantling, again, we do need some more wide receiver depth. I think we might be able to gamble with Jaylen Samuels, and if he somehow gets picked before our next pick, I am totally okay with going with another high upside late round running back. So let's go ahead. We'll take MVS because I just really like the upside for that player. Again, it adds additional depth to our wide receiver core. And if we go to the 12th round, okay, so here's another running back who I like very much, Damien Harris. If Jaylen Samuels gets taken before our next pick, that's fine because I love Damien Harris of New England. I always like to take New England running backs after pick 100. We're at pick number 137, so that's perfect. Kalen Ballage is also a great upside player there. He was just listed today as a co RB1 on that team with Kenyon Drake, and so that's really good too. So let's queue up Harris and Ballage, and Harris, Ballage. So those are both great options. Samuels is still on the board. I'm just going to pause so we're within 2, and then we'll see where we're at. All right, back to us. So Samuels is still on the board. Let's go ahead and take him because he's kind of like our handcuff for James Conner, our number 1 pick. Again, it's a very inexpensive place to get him at this point. And like I said, if anything should happen to Conner, if Conner goes down, Samuels is an immediate RB1 every week. Just the nature of the offense, it's the nature of how they build that offense. So that is just additional insurance should anything happen. Now let's jump to the 13th round. And again, I want to get, we've gotten 6 running backs now, so they're not going to let us take any more running backs. So we got to go wide receiver. And as far as wide receivers go, look at that. Now Golden Tate. Now, that's very interesting. He is suspended for the first 4 games. We're taking this guy as our 5th wide receiver. I think he's got some value that, he could be useful to us as a flex play once he gets back from his suspension. Let's definitely target Tate on this next one. And as far as Marquise Goodwin, I read just recently that he is on the cusp of being cut from that team, so I don't want to deal with that. Not a lot of great wide receivers here. Let's jump to the next round here. Who's on the next? Oh, look, Tyrell Williams. That is actually the wide receiver I want. He is the one, he just got traded to Oakland. He's playing opposite Antonio Brown. I see him as having Michael Crabtree upside on this offense. Remember how effective Michael Crabtree was in his time when he was playing across from Amari Cooper in Amari's first 2 seasons? That's the kind of guy I want. I think he's going to be very effective. So let's take Tyrell Williams, and that's going to be our last bench pick. So that's perfect. I'm just going to pause the video. I'm going to take my final picks. We'll come back. We'll review the team. But this team is pretty good. I'm very happy with how this team turned out. Thank you very much. So we're all done here. Let's review the team. So we got Jared Goff as our quarterback. Our wide receivers are Tyreek Hill, Robby Anderson, Dede Westbrook, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Tate, and Tyrell Williams. And then our running backs are James Conner, Kerryon Johnson, Carson, Lamar Miller, Derrius Guice, and Jaylen Samuels. Our tight end is Vance McDonald, and somehow I took one extra bench spot. I did not pick a kicker. My defense is Dallas. So that was an error on my part because I had him queued up, and that's what they took instead of taking a defense. But overall, this is a great team, man. I mean, this is a seriously great team. Lots of nice depth at our running back and wide receiver positions. We got a solid quarterback. We got a high upside tight end. So I'm very happy with how this went. And in a standard points league, again, we focused on running backs early, but I'm doing that in all my leagues, in PPR and everything else. I'm focusing on running backs early just because of the nature of the running back position depleting so quickly. Although what I have seen is that there are more viable options opening up later, like Derrius Guice. I mean, he's just a tremendous value right now at his current draft position. I don't know how you can pass that up. But anyway, so that's how it works. So thank you very much for watching. Please go to my website again, fantasyfootballmaverick.com. You can sign up for a free membership. You can have access to a limited version of the app that you can use actually for your standard points leagues, just like this one. And if you like it, you can subscribe and get access to all the features. So you can create a custom point schedule, or you can use the PPR list or the half point PPR list. And like I said, it makes a huge, little tiny differences in the league point schedule have an enormous impact on the value of the players. It is shocking. If we went through right now and did from this exact same draft position a half point PPR league, the recommendations would be substantially different. And so anyway, if you want to win your draft this year, get my app. You'll like it, I promise. And thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe below. And if you have any questions, just leave a comment, or you can send me an email, all right? Thank you very much, and have a good night.